Connection project, one of the organizers of the event. I'm gonna make a little opening. Then we're gonna put the word back to the conferences. Emotion and happiness, I'm here to say hi to everyone. Wishing that both of these days be very inspiring to our minds and hearts. In this very critical moment that we are going through across the planet. The project Formative Connection is honored to propose this opportunity. In reality, this seminar is aligned with the intentions of our institution, created to foster connection among people, based on the formative connections between its founders, André and me. We want to continue the first forms of connection between people. Before it was through drums and bonfires, carrying on the legacy of our great master, Dr. Carl Rogers. The idea of an international and online space has recently emerged as a way to gather friends and at the same time share our concerns in times of pandemic and possible future directions. We also intend to create opportunities for colleagues in Brazil who would have difficulty participating in face-to-face international events. The deaths and fear of contamination of COVID-19 makes me very sad and angry with our unscrupulous politicians. The topics that we will deal here are intended to shed some light to support us in continuing our resistance and political activism. My friend and partner André and me initially considered the idea a little bizarre. How could we bring together a considerable number of Brazilians from north to south and friends from other countries using this online platform? The budget and possibility of sponsorship seemed completely unfeasible until my son Rodrigo suggested a low-cost charity event when an institution could benefit and all of us, speakers, participants, and the organizing team, translators, would be practicing empathic cooperation that's so needed in this time. All speakers accepted the invitation promptly, giving up fees. Within a week, the first batch of registration was sold out. We were then sure that we were doing the right thing at the right moment with the right people. So it had to work out. This is a thinking of John Wood. He's talking about. In these 2 months of organization, we lived intense moments with many doubts if everything was going to work out. With speakers from 7 countries, with 3 languages, and 4 amateur translators, and with the Zoom platform for 500 people, in addition to the translation versus technologies not yet experienced by us with this number of people. We did a very intense internal preparation and 3 rehearsals. And I still feel a little insecure, but I'm hopeful that everything's gonna work out. We belong to the PCA community with experience, patience, empathy, and betting that other can come from chaos and the formative tendency is present, guiding in the invisible threads that unite us. We chose a reliable institution whose work aimed at children and adolescents renews our hopes for a more just society. SEDECA, Center for the Defense of Children and Adolescents, represented here by one of its collaborators, Clayse Silva, will make a brief presentation of the scope of the work developed there. Words are not always good enough to express gratitude I feel for all of you who helped organize this event, directly or indirectly. Rodrigo Tassinari, my son, André Nerys, Natália Elias, Marcia Lima, Lucas Arcuri, Carol Erba, Jenny Merla, Antônio Monteiro dos Santos, all the lecturers and participants. I couldn't name all of you. I would like to dedicate this seminar to the people who literated me in the PCA, who always believed in me. My master, Rogério Bus, Maureen O'Hara, John Keith Wood, and Natalie Rogers. Carl Rogers remains my great inspirer and conceptual guide. I will give the word to my friend Clayse Silva. Then André Nerys will also welcome you and offer the basic guidelines to make our convivence pleasant. I hope that the etymology of the word connection can unite us all. To all these presenters from Argentina, Brazil, United States, Guinea, Mexico, Russia, and all present. This is my opening. Now I pass the word to my friend Clayse to present SEDECA, where she works and makes an awesome work there. Good night. Do you hear me? The famous question of this moment. I want to thank very much this opportunity, very warm opening that makes me emotional. I'm going to speak briefly. I'm going to put here a link of the presentation so you can see later about our institution. We are a non-governmental institution. We work with children and adolescents with high vulnerability, boys and girls who suffer some kind of sexual abuse or some kind of criminal activity or that lives in the streets. Marcia told about the drums and then the ancestrality. We do a work that is restorative justice that has the same fundamentals of the person-centered approach. That's came to us from Marshall Rosenberg that worked with Carl Rogers. We have another project, but I want to talk about this one that makes this work of facilitating dialogues with the adolescents that has committed some kind of crimes with their victims or with their families because of some conflicts that might have occurred between these children and adolescents and these peoples that have been damaged some way. We also have a work with children and adolescents that are being victim of death threats. It's a public policy. Last year we had more than 500 children. We have 350 professionals. We also help to form these professionals to work with children and adolescents. We also do a lot of mobilization on political acts and on the Brazilian politics. I want to give my warm in name of Pedro and me and the others, we all, the Mr. SEDECA in Rio de Janeiro. I want to thank you all. Thank you, Marcia, for your initiative. This moment is a very hard moment for all of us. And we are together now. Thank you.
Bom, boa noite, então, a quem conseguiu se conectar agora.
Everyone that has come online now, and to those that will see the recording later. Hearing Clayse's word make me go back on time a little. I worked with her some months. On that period, I saw that SEDECA had projects and expertise to go further, and they would go further if there was more sponsorship. That little travel, time travel, I remember when Marcia and me had an insight what would become of this event, and that we are all together today. And I need to confess that I did not imagine how far and important this idea of Marcia was and would become. Fortunately, both me and her are very stubborn when we have a potentially good idea and infected each other to move on. I see that this is the basis of our connective formation. The project Formative Connection was a result of an investment we made in formalizing what we saw we were doing, presenting a space that could generate a free, open conversation to always go further, testing our limits on various levels. Was a bit of what we saw that happened when we first talked about how to take advantage of the PCA texts that have not been published here in Brazil. What would be a text study project ended up becoming the book Diálogos Humanistas, Humanist Dialogues, which sold more than half of its first edition before its launch. I ended up going back a lot more in time, or rather, not so long, when I was on graduation and asked to participate in the internship group of a teacher I didn't know, who was called Marcia Tassinari. Me, who was studying for a degree after the age of 30, and whose horizon was just an ordinary position from Monday to Friday that would allow me to live reasonably well. I am here today with all of you because I had the potential that I found the ground to develop. Looking in perspective now, seems to me a confirmation of what Rogers has expressed throughout his life. We are all in the process of actualizing to a more complex, self-sufficient and full functional. That is, we are all rich soil in enabling condition when we believe in our potential. Not just an individual potential, but an idea potential. Having this certainty brings me an altered state of conscience now, as I believe in many fruits that will be matured in this seminar. This is a conversation that Marcia and I has been repeating for these past months. You can feel this energy in this event is mobilizing. I hope that everyone will make the most of this soil prepared initially by us, the staff, by the lecturers, and now extend to everyone present here. In the end, it ends up being a natural consequence to look at all these 200 and plus people logged on now, and remember that this is a direct result of this pandemic period that we are living. It would be frivolous also to say that the lecturers presented here do not address these issues. whether a figure or background, this is a piece of our history. And no phrase or heard here will be detached from this scenario. This first part of our seminar will be with the South American speakers, pointing possible directions for the person-centered approach. Tomorrow, we will look to the topic pandemic more accurately. And on the other hand, how PCA is inserted and culturally inserted. Just announcing what our meeting promises, I am chilled. I think I stretched a little longer than was planned. So I will join the team that's taking care of the backstage. And with that, I will transfer the baton back to our teacher, who will play the role master of ceremonies during our event. Tassinari, it's up to you. I always wanted to say this. It's like the reporters in Brazil transfer the story to other nucleus. This boy makes me very emotional. Thank you. Here will be a very strong emotions. I'm always very moved when I see the blooming of the ideas and the people, these groups. So let's go forward. Without all these strong emotions, I can't speak. I'm very honored, the pleasure